It's showtime.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are tonight's entertainment.
You're not here, you missing out, because this show...
Ladies and gentlemen.
All right, listen up.
And now, the moment you've all been waiting for.
It's time for the Alliance Guys podcast.
Oh, no! Turn on! Hey, what is up, everybody? Welcome to The Pre-Party, a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com, your number one source for news and information for the National Wrestling Alliance. My name is Jay Callan. Every Tuesday, I come to you to talk about pro wrestling, to talk NWA. And we are streaming on multiple platforms. That's how we do here, okay? We do it. We do the damn thing. I have no idea what I'm going to talk about. I didn't plan any conversation today. I'm just here. I'm just here to talk to you guys. At TikTok, we were talking about Lucha Libre. We were talking about Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio. We were talking about fish tacos and Chinese food and TJ. We were talking about who's going to retire after AJ Styles. They asked me who my favorite what was the question? I forgot now. Oh, who my favorite NWA wrestler was. I think Wiccan asked me that question. And I said, right now, if I was pushing somebody in the NWA, it would be Thrillbilly Silas Mason. And we are here, guys. We're here because we're done. We're still live on TikTok. If you guys are on TikTok, we still are seeing your comments. Like Johnny Cage just said Austin Theory. Austin Theory is good. Mia says, we need John Cena autobiography movie, Hollywood style. I like that. Elite Gamer Joey just called me KO. And over here on YouTube, we've got Noob, who says, hello, Alliance. How you doing today? We're doing good, man. Noob, I'm doing really good. I've had a great day. I got to go to the gym. I got to talk to some people that I like talking to today. I had a carne asada burrito. That was really good. We also talked about 6'7". Shit. Hey, if my daughter's watching, she's going to throw up. Double D says, hey, yo! What's up, Double D? Double D is an official, unofficial member of the Alliance, guys. He used to be part of the podcast, but he's also a new dad, so he has an extended absence. But whenever he wants that seat, it is waiting for him. The question of the day is, guys, have you ever had a fish taco? I have had fish tacos. We have Wahoo's fish tacos here in Southern California, and you get like a shrimp taco or like a fish taco. I don't know what fish it is. I think it might be mahi-mahi. I like it. It's tasty. What's up, Sean? Over on TikTok, how are you doing? Powerpuff Mia says beer battered fish tacos are bomb. I do believe I had a beer battered fish taco at Wahoo's back in the day. I don't do a lot of seafood, but I used to love mahi-mahi. I used to love salmon. I used to eat a lot of shrimp and lobster until I had a crustacean as a pet, and then kind of killed it for me. Oh, Sean, I can't say that over the air, Sean. I can't say that. First of all, Double D, you went to the Dominican? That's dope. That's on my list. I would love to go to the Dominican, especially during baseball season. What's on the... See, Soto's trying to rein me back in. Thanks for the heartbeat, Sean. I appreciate that. Soto's trying to get me back on the NWA. Jen, of course, there's TV taping coming up in December. I think that's important to talk about. We have beaten to death the poor taping schedule for the NWA, and it's almost like I don't want to talk about it anymore. They're roughly 3 months behind from their live events to airing on the Roku app. And I think it's very... Hey, Sean, also thank you for the popular. I do appreciate that. I mean, look, Soto, you're going to be in the Dominican Republic in January? Man, everyone's going to the Dominican Republic but me. No, it's on the list. I would love to go. Like I said, especially during baseball season. That'd be dope. But I digress as we continue this conversation. So where the NWA has this taping schedule that is, Sean says it's a bit off on Roku. No, it's way off. It's way the heck off, and it's distractingly bad because they have crowned a new world champion, several champions, back in August when the 77 was filmed, and we're just now getting to those matches airing on their Roku app, and we are now in November. And I don't feel like that is a good way to keep the product centered. Like, there's a giant disconnect from Power and then attending live events. And then, to make matters worse, you've got the territories who are booking guys with titles that they've lost on camera, but not because it hasn't aired yet. The NWA doesn't acknowledge the title change. If you go to like a site like Cage Match, it'll say, "Oh, he lost the title back in August, but defended the title in September, defended the title in October," and it seems so weird. Steve G says, "I'm not going to the Dominican Republic. It's kind of hard to drive there." I am on a plane way more than I would actually like to be, but I've got to go to some pretty cool places over the years, and being able to, again, earlier this year I was in London and I got to see Rev Pro, which is kind of cool. Rev Pro in London reminds me so much of Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, like in Reseda, and it's so similar, and it's like, but it's different, but it's the same. It's almost like someone saw PWG in Reseda and like, hey, I'm going to take that back to London. And it's so cool. Soto said, yeah, the new world champion was crowned the best in the world. Different world title, Soto, different. There's your world heavyweight champion for the WWE, but the title we're talking about has a nickname called the 10 pounds of gold, Daddy. It's the prettiest thing. Adam Pearce once called it Sweet Charlotte. Oh, she's so pretty. That's one of my favorite title belts. Jules, what's going on? Hope you're doing well. NWA is definitely behind. Meanwhile, WWE and AEW are still getting live on TV, and TNA, they're getting a TV deal. Yeah, it's crazy to think about it because look, you've got TNA Wrestling, who I know they're on some kind of a sabbatical, but they're looking to get a bigger TV deal. You've got MLW, who is actually looking to get out there. TNA is trying to get a big market TV deal. MLW is trying to get a TV deal. And you've got the NWA on Roku, and I don't want to trivialize Roku. Jules, Kyle Schwarber. Jules, that's been a long time. I've missed you. You're the only person that doesn't call me Kevin Owens. You call me Kyle Schwarber, a different K. Soto said, you talk about the title that Nick Aldis made. Oh, you just made me throw up in my mouth a little bit. Oh, and then Chris Drummond, late breaking news. This just handed to me. Fans can now watch the NWA Power on Pluto via the Wrestling Central app. I don't understand why the Alliance can't go on Paramount Plus instead of like CBS. Well, that's the thing. The dankest of memes, and I love the question. I love the excitement. If you guys like the NWA, this is the right place to be because I love talking NWA. The reason why they're not on Paramount Plus or CBS or anything else is because there's not a demand for them to be on those channels. Look, if the NWA was producing great content, there would be a higher demand for it. Unfortunately, they're not. I like the NWA, but even I can tell you that it's got a lot of limitations on how it's presented, how the stars are being used, some of the storylines, some of the segments. It can get really dicey. But with that being said, I've tried to convert as many of you guys to watch the NWA as I possibly can. Like I'm literally in a cult, and I'm trying to get you to join my cult. Sean says, I like the rawness of NWA. I mean, it is pretty raw at times. Double D says, oops, let me get to Double D. Carson Drake cousin is coming soon. Either Eli Drake is back or Drake is releasing a new single on Power. Well, remember there was Hunter Drake. He was a Drake too until he wasn't. CM Punk on TikTok is calling me Kevin Owens. It's a shame they couldn't grow in the 80s with Dusty Rhodes versus Ric Flair. Yeah, so like the thing about the NWA, and I want everyone to understand this, like the NWA, has gone through a metamorphosis. It's the organization itself. Remember, the NWA started off as a sanctioning body of professional wrestling. So there were territories always acknowledging, recognizing a true World's Heavyweight Champion, the NWA Worlds Heavyweight Champion, a title that was first won by Orville Brown back in 1947 and was, 1948, and was unified with all the other titles, world titles at the time, by Lou Thesz. Lou Thesz made that a Worlds title. That's why the name is Worlds Championship and not Worlds with an apostrophe, because it was a collection of world titles. Hence the name, Worlds Heavyweight Championship. And when I should take that off. When we're talking about that World's Heavyweight Championship, there, it has that history that has connected it from 1948 to 2025. It's gone through a lot of metamorphosis, ownership changes, different alliances, different people who are connected to it. But the NWA as it stands today is a wrestling promotion and a sanctioning body owned by William Patrick Corgan, the lead singer of Smashing Pumpkins. And Billy Corgan has set up the NWA to have the main promotion, which is televised on Roku every Tuesdays at 5 p.m. Eastern. 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern on the Roku Sports app, and on demand all the time on the Roku app. And each week you get a new episode of Power. And that's the name of their show. The biggest drawback is these episodes have been filmed for about 3 months, and they age like a fine wine, I guess. Honestly, I wish the NWA had, and you'll see a parade of NWA recognized champs tonight. From Poyo Damar, our good friend on TikTok, who 2 years ago to this day, I took a nice picture with Poyo. And Poyo is telling us that there'll be a parade of champions tonight. So I think that's pretty cool. I'm excited to see what it's all about. The Austin Idol Heartthrob Invitational, they're going to crown a new #1 contender for the national title. There'll be a national title match between Mike Mondo and Mims. Mike Mondo, some of the WWE fans might remember from his time in the WWE as part of the Spirit Squad. Soto says he's watching the Crockett Cup from 2024 on Pluto right now. We just got a convert right there. Soto watching the NWA 2024 Crockett Cup. I was there too. That was in Forney, Texas. You know what they say about Forney, Texas? Tejas. I don't know. I will leave it as that. Let's see. I would like to forget the Spirit Squad, Sean. You and me both, brother, but still. I would just like to point out that's where he, got his start in the business. If you've seen Mike Mondo today, he does not look like the Mike Mondo that was a part of the WWE Spirit Squad. Dude is jacked, and dude is very, very solid in the ring. He teams with another guy named Slade, and I swear to God, if you watched him in action, it's almost like a modern day version of the Steiner brothers, two really jacked dudes who can just toss people around the ring. If people let go of what they read on the internet and embrace the TV timeline, they'd be happier. I get that, Poyo, but then when I go to the event and I was there live for the event and I get matches that I wasn't expecting, that's where I get drawn off. As a spectator, as a fan, who's someone who goes to these shows, when I went to the Crockett Cup, we didn't know when I got my tickets for Crockett Cup, we didn't know that TVMA were the tag team champions. We didn't know. I don't think we knew yet that Tiffany Nieves was the women's television championship. So that creates a disconnect. And I understand your point, Poyo. If I only treated NWA as a TV show and disregarded a little bit, Poyo. Sorry, and now I'm focused on talking to Poyo. It did make it a little bit less enjoyable because I didn't know what was happening. And, again, we know that Silas Mason won that World Heavyweight title. I want to see Silas Mason with that World Heavyweight Championship. But I am going to have to wait at least until the end of November before that match airs on Roku. And, I want to see it now. I'm an impatient cow. Moo! You know what I mean? But, and I get it. Again, we're arguing about something that can't be fixed on the surface. It's something that the NWA would have to do, either take a pause on producing live events or, start releasing additional footage. And as it stands right now, that's a lot of money that I don't think Billy Corgan's just willing to dump down the toilet. So it's not going to happen. We just have to accept that this is what it is. All that being said, I would like to have, I wish there was some more connective tissue. I wish, like, again, it's not the NWA, but the United Wrestling Network. I was at an event 2 weeks ago, and already the 2 of those episodes that were filmed that evening have now been put on their YouTube channel. And I feel like if United Wrestling Network can do that, so can the NWA. All right, let's get to some of the comments that I've been ignoring here on YouTube. Poyo, and I do appreciate the heck out of you, Poyo, and you know that. Always a good person in my book, and always welcome on this live stream or any live stream that I'm connected to. All right, I want to get to these comments. All right, let's see. Steve G is not a fan of the planes. I get that. David Valentine says, breaking news, Jeff Jarrett to lead global, late faking news, Jeff Jarrett to lead a global wrestling force invasion to the NWA at their TV tapings. That would be actually kind of interesting. I'm not holding my breath for it, but that would be interesting. That the global force wrestling, that's still a Jarrett brand, and he still does live events at baseball fields across the country, minor league baseball fields, and it's pretty decent business for him. And I wouldn't have a problem if the NWA did shack up with Global Force Wrestling and they did do something like that, but I'm not holding my breath for it. Soto just sent me a text message of him watching Pluto. and who's on the cover? Nick Aldis. I couldn't use the fingers I wanted to. Let's see. Hey, Jay, Cal Tires is coming back to the NWA as a legitimate wrestling ring. Wow. That's awesome. That's awesome. My phone is blowing up, so I'm going to have to take this message, I'm sure. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Trying to get to all the comments. Some stuff I need to read, some stuff I shouldn't. Like I said, NWA should have been live and not taped. I mean, if there was a way that they could have done it live, I'm sure they would have knew. But I'm positive. Like, look, I don't think that Billy Corgan is doing anything malicious to hurt the NWA audience. Like, I think if he could, at an affordable cost, go live, I think he would. I just don't feel like it makes sense. I mean, producing pro wrestling isn't cheap. It might be cheaper than some other forms of entertainment, but it's still not a cheap endeavor. Making pro wrestling is expensive, and doing it correctly. Like, if you've seen an NWA show, like, the production values are high. It looks great. When you watch the NWA, whether you're a fan of the product or not, you can look at it and say, okay, it looks well produced. It is. I just wish they could get the turnaround to be a lot faster. And if they could get it live, like, that'd be dope. But again, they didn't make a lot of money on pay-per-views, and that's why they stopped doing the pay-per-views. Double D says, yeah, but this is a different Mondo. I like this one. Yeah, Mondo is great. And Poyo just points out that Lucha Underground taped their entire series over 4 weekends. Yes, and WoW does something very similar too. I think they taped their entire year of wrestling in about a 2-week stretch. So it's not out of the ordinary. But then again, Lucha Underground didn't have live events or territory shows that connected to it. So I mean, I get it. I get it, Poyo. And I'm not, first of all, I'm not expecting you to have answers or to try to, it is what it is. It is what it is. I don't like it, but it is what it is. And none of us can actually change that. Soto said, I switched back to watching you. Soto, you're such a good dude. Let's see. We can't see what Poyo is saying. Please read her comments or asking her to join you. Okay. So the last, thanks for the rose, Ant2 Troll. The last thing Poyo said is Lucha Underground's taped their entire series over 4 weekends. All right, let's see. If people let go of what they read on the internet and embrace the TV timeline, they'd be happier. That's what Poyo said. Yeah, and there's so much like look, I don't want to discourage anyone for, I want people to watch wrestling. I want people to enjoy wrestling, right? Like I want them to enjoy wrestling. And if you tell a wrestling fan, well, you would enjoy the product more if you just watched it on TV. But like, I also don't spend anything to watch it on TV. I do spend money to go to the live events. I do spend money to watch pro wrestling in person. Like for me to go to an NWA event, they don't run in Southern California. The National Wrestling Alliance has not done a single show in Southern California since the brand changed ownership from Pro Wrestling Organization to International Wrestling Corporation. They stopped running in Southern California long time ago. And so the only way for me to watch an NWA event live is for me to go to one of the territories, which is Albuquerque, New Mexico, San Antonio, Texas, Forney, Texas, Troy, Missouri, Sevierville, Tennessee, Cleveland, Ohio, Eastern Tennessee, really, or Chicago. Those are my NWA territories. Or I could go to a live pay-per-view taping, live TV taping, which the majority of the tapings are in Tampa, or they have their signature live events throughout the United States, most recently in Atlanta, Georgia. So if I want to go to an NWA show, I'm paying for flight, hotel, and my tickets to the show. That gets expensive. And I understand, like, again, it can't change immediately. But when I go to a live event, there's a disconnect from what I'm watching on TV. It's not the same product. It'd be like watching a baseball game. Like, Shohei Ohtani was an Angel 2 years ago. Now he's on the Dodgers. Like, if I could watch those old Angel games with Shohei Ohtani as an Angel, I sure enjoyed him, but he ain't an Angel no more. J. Cal, do you think Chris Jericho is coming back to the WWE? I 100% think at some point he'll come back. I don't know if I've heard rumors that they were. Double D. I wish everyone was committed as you, Jay. Yeah, I mean, look, it's a passion, right? Like, look, it's not cheap to do this. And, being able to go across I've been across the country, I've been across the world to see the NWA. Like, again, not trying to pad my resume or anything, but I've been to China to watch the NWA. So first American journalist to cover the National Wrestling Alliance in China. That was me. I've been to Mexico City for the NWA. I've been to, North Carolina, Atlanta, or I mean, I guess cities, right? We'll just say Charlotte, although it wasn't exactly Charlotte. Atlanta, Arizona, when the old NWA was a part of it. Phoenix. No, excuse me, not Phoenix. Yuma, Arizona. There it was. I've traveled a lot to see the NWA. And Poyo says, Jay, you are an anomaly. The majority of wrestling fans are not doing that, which I can kind of relate to, but I do know a lot of wrestling fans that do go to those live events, and they are paying money to do these things. Our good friend Rick Del Santo drove from Connecticut to New York, to Long Island, to be a part of the 77th anniversary show, and it was like a 3-hour drive for him. And he didn't he didn't spend money on a plane ticket, and he didn't have to buy a hotel, but it was a 3-hour, like a 6-hour commute just to go support the NWA. Actually, I wish my wife was as cool as yours, allowing you to be as committed as you are. My wife has a love-hate relationship with pro wrestling, and there are some times where she will humor me, and there's sometimes she will enjoy traveling to see wrestling, for me to see wrestling, not for her. Yeah, and Poyo points out it's no joy to anyone that there's a disconnect for you or the other possible couple of dozen folks. Jesus Christ. I love Poyle, but that's a great way to just minimize my concerns. Like, nah, it's just you and like 5 other people. I feel like there's more than that, Poyle. But again, I don't want to have that argument with you. That's something that you cannot control. That's something above your pay grade. And I bet if it were up to you, it would probably be closer from taping to distribution. I don't think anybody loves it. I just feel like that's where they're at. And it's not like Billy Corgan is going to just dump all that footage that they have in the can. Now, if it were me, if it was my money, if I was doing it, I also wouldn't dump all that money that we spent on filming it. I would simply not have another live taping for a couple of months until we get a little bit closer to being caught up. So instead of being 3 months behind, maybe just a couple of weeks, maybe like 5 weeks, 6 weeks, something like that. I'm not saying it has to be immediate, but again, that's my opinion. And as a fan, I'm allowed to state that opinion. And as a company, they don't have to hear that opinion. You know, again, I'm one person. I might be the most outspoken NWA fan on the planet, and I might do a lot more to promote the NWA than most fans do. But at the end of the day, I have no ownership in the NWA. I have no control of what the NWA does. That's Billy Corgan. Send all complaints to Billy Corgan. Google says the NWA gets almost 9,000 views a week. I don't know what numbers they do. It's not a publicly traded company, and I don't think they have to really announce any of that information. You know, I don't know if Roku makes that information available, so I don't know where that 9,000 views are coming from. But you know, when they were on X, and I don't, you know, a view is only a few seconds, but they had several thousands, like 20, 30, 40,000 views on some of their shows. When they were on YouTube, you know, some of those views would get up to like 120,000. So I don't know what that actual real number is. And Poyo says that number, the number of 9,000 views a week, Poyo says that number is accurately low, and I'll tell you that outright. I agree. I don't think 9,000 sounds right. I don't have the numbers. Again, the NWA doesn't have to publish those numbers. They don't. It's not our business. Again, it's not a publicly traded company, so they don't have to tell us that information. But hey, Bree's World. But I do believe there's more than 9,000 people watching weekly. Roku would have dropped the program immediately with that number, according to Poyo. And that probably sounds accurate too. Like, again, you have to remember, this isn't YouTube. Roku is paying for this content. You know, as a YouTube creator, I can tell you 100% that I earn money being on YouTube, but I don't earn the kind of money that I would need to have to produce a pro wrestling event. And even if Billy Corgan had my, 100 times the numbers that I get on YouTube, it still wouldn't afford to produce pro wrestling. If Roku is paying to produce or helping to pay to produce the cost of power or any of it, it's got to make sense for everybody. It's got to make sense for everyone. And if the NWA had a ridiculously low number, that's not going to work for Roku. They could run reruns of old baseball games and do better than 9,000 views. Steve G says, J-Cal, congratulations on Race Internet as a sponsor. I wish that they paid me anything. If you're seeing that on YouTube, I don't really see any of that. It just, I'm glad they're not paying me that, buddy. Do 9,000 people even have Roku? Double D, come on. Of course, Roku is a huge streaming platform. Remember, it's free. I love it how on TikTok, just every once in a while, someone will be like, you look like Kevin Owens. Are you sure you're not related to Kevin Owens? I promise you. Let's see. Roku has 2.5% of all streaming at broadcast viewers in the U.S. and growing. That's according to Poyo. That's Poyo's. This is information provided to me from Poyo, whom I'm assuming is getting it from the NWA or somebody from Roku. And they give the NWA 3 hours of broadcasting a week. And I know that's the 1 hour at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. And then I think they do a replay at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern on Roku Sports. And then I don't know when the other hour is. And then so Poyo, understand, I don't know where you're getting. I can't source you, so I'm just saying it's your information. Poyo says that information isn't from Poyo. It is the information reported by Nielsen. So I'm literally just echoing, amplifying what Pollo Del Mar is saying, and I have not sourced any of this material. Pollo says that that's what Nielsen is saying. I'm just trying to keep my hands clean, Pollo, because I'm not making these. I don't have the information. I haven't looked for that information. That's not information that, again, it's funny because as wrestling fans, we all want our companies to succeed. We want to see the big rating numbers. We want the big TV deals. But at the end of the day, if the NWA is content being on Roku and their numbers are good enough where, if they're able, look, at the end of the day, as a business, you want return on investment. If Billy is making his return on investment, then what does it matter how many numbers they're getting from the Roku or how many people are watching? If Billy Corgan is making a return on investment that is affording him able to continue to produce the NWA, then what does he care? Billy Corgan's independently wealthy. He's not sitting for the NWA. He's not sitting on NWA to make him richer. He's doing it because it's a passion product. It's the same thing if I was running the NWA. It wouldn't be because it's going to make me richer. No, it'd probably make me significantly poorer. But it's a passion for him. Sean Moya says, so now 9K seems legit. Thanks, Pollo. I don't think 9K seems legit at all, but that's me. I haven't looked it up. I don't know the numbers. Who the fuck did the Nielsen's ever beat? Double D makes me laugh. That's why I liked having Double D on the live stream, man. That witty banter. Patrick Moore has a perfectly good question. Why doesn't NWA Chicago stream anywhere where they have cameras, but they don't stream anywhere? Yeah, that is another $50 million question. I wish I had the answer to, Patrick. We see it. We see from the clips there's someone holding a camera. They have a big screen at the event that is showcasing the match that they are watching, but it's not available to watch anywhere. And again, I'm sure there's a reason for it. I don't know. Maybe Billy's going to do best of in a couple of years. Hey, this is the best of Chicago. Here we go. And why does anyone do anything? It's because they can. NWA Chicago might be a really good, might be a very good territory. I have not seen any actual live wrestling from Chicago, only clips here and there on Instagram or X. And it looks like a fun environment. And if I was ever in Chicago and they were running, I'd certainly step in and check it out. They're still calling me Kevin Owens. Gavin the Grizz. Oh, wait, no. Oh, wait. Let me get it right. Gavin the Riz guy. Hey. Long time no see, Kevin Owens. I wonder how much my audience I really just annoy the shit out of by doing the stupid stuff that makes me laugh. And I apologize in advance. I do a lot of stupid shit to make myself laugh. Wow, this has been a very interesting conversation. Pollo, I appreciate you jumping on here. I don't know if you're still on TikTok, but I do appreciate you jumping in. And you're always welcome to come on this show anytime. If you want to come on right now, I'll throw you a link. But Pollo, you're always welcome on the show. Pollo Del Mar is the former manager of Thrillbilly Silas Mason. Also works behind the scenes for the National Wrestling Alliance and a friend of the show. And Gavin the Riz guy, I understand you are not Pollo. I know that you are not Pollo and Pollo is not you. We're good. Wow, Pluto starts at 6:11 on Pluto. Wow, let me try that again. Wow, Power starts at 6:11 on Pluto TV. So is it Double D? Because I'm not on Pluto right now, and you're looking at it, and our boy Soto was on it. Is it Power, or is it just Championship, or what is it called? Wrestling Central. I thought Wrestling Central was on Pluto. I didn't know new episodes of Power were airing on Pluto. Is that what you're telling me? Okay, Wrestling Central. Okay, so that episode of Power is probably something that was already filmed. Sean, I would never ask somebody within the industry how much they're getting paid for doing their job, as much as I would not like to tell anyone how much I get paid for doing my job. But yeah, Pollo works for the NWA. Let me get a drink here. Oh, okay. So Pollo said reruns on Pluto, first run on Roku. That's so. Pollo, help me out. Since you're in the chat, Pollo, help me out. So, are what they airing on Wrestling Central new episodes of Power, or like reruns on Power? Like, let me start that again. Is Pluto airing stuff from this season of Power, or is it the same stuff that's being presented on Wrestling Central on Roku? Joey, I do not think Raquel will take the title off of Stephanie. I love Stephanie Vaquer, and I really like Raquel Rodriguez as well. I think she's great, but I don't think you're going to take the belt off of Stephanie for anybody at the moment. They are way old on Pluto. Well, like, yeah, so says season 19, episode 7. So, okay, that's an older episode. Oh, Sean, so you watch classic. Oh, okay, cool. Got it. Pollo says, what you're watching on Pluto, Wrestling Central, is the classic Lightning One era. So we're talking about stuff from the last Billy's on the NWA since 2017. So you're watching stuff from 2017 up until 2024, presumably. And again, that covers, Power and some of the pay-per-views that they had. Now that they've switched to the Signature Live event, but back in the day, they used to actually do pay-per-views, and those weren't normally available on television. You had to order them. So I think that's also another big win for the NWA too, because having another platform, again, that this is a revenue generator. Like, these are already filmed matches, so they're not spending any more money to produce these, but they're making money off stuff that they've already produced. That is where it gets smart. That is where you start building up and between this and live events, maybe the NWA can get a little bit more exposure, maybe bring it in some bigger names, or maybe run in some larger venues, or just getting more popular. Again, as fans, we tend to romanticize our wrestling promotions having to have like #1 Nielsen numbers. Like, who cares? Honestly, if I never heard about ratings, I would never care about the ratings, because they don't mean anything to me. I'm not buying advertising time on this show. It doesn't change for me. All I care about is the show that I'm watching, is it available for me to watch? And then, Sean, the problem with Billy cashing in on footage from the 70s and the 90s is that I don't know where the market would be for footage from the 70s and the 90s. Like, look, let's be honest. After 1993, the NWA entered its wilderness years, and there's a lot of lost footage. And let's be honest too, it wasn't exactly filmed in the best way. Like, NWA Wildside, I think, ran from like 99 or 98 up until about, like maybe 2012 or 2013. Who'd want to watch that? The quality is not good. They were filmed on 8mm tapes. It wasn't good. The wrestling was spectacular, but like, you're watching footage and it's grainy and it doesn't look good. Like, I can't watch a lot of the older wrestling stuff when it's filmed in low def, on like, the 8mm super tapes. It's like, it just isn't very good to watch. That being said, like, sure, stuff from the 70s I think would be golden, but again, I think WWE owns a majority of that. I don't even know if the NWA still has access to the Paul Bosch library. If they do, they don't use it at all. Which I'm all right with that, because Dusty Rhodes appearing on the Paul Bosch library is cool. Yeah, and Pollo said NWA doesn't own those libraries. Yeah, but it again, like, so if they did, it's not connected to today's product. You can't show me a match of Ric Flair and then show me a match of Thrillbilly Silas Mason and be like, yep, these are the same. They're not. Yes, it's the same company, but like, there's generations between it. Right. And as Pollo pointed out, each NWA territory was independently owned. And a lot of it happened. Like, look, let's be honest. Vince McMahon bought up a majority of the territories along the way. And they bought the biggest NWA library when it bought, Jim Crockett Promotions. And look, there was Hollywood wrestling. Those libraries seem to have disappeared. WWE owned the AWA library. But like a lot of the NWA territories from back in the day, either the footage just doesn't exist or it's owned by the WWE. And there are promotions out there, like I think there's Howard Brody's NWA, there's Dennis Corluzzo's NWA. I don't know how much of that was even taped or how much of that was preserved. But that stuff, I mean, like, do you really want to see Dan the Beast Severn versus Jim the Anvil Neidhart for the NWA Worlds Heavyweight Championship? Double D says Silas might be the closest we got to the 80s. Silas Mason, and I'm saying this because I love this. Silas Mason is a superstar. Silas Mason can transcend pro wrestling. Silas Mason is already in Hollywood. He was part of the Iron Claw. But besides that, if you listen to that man speak, he will sell you a ticket. He will get you to buy a seat to the wrestling event that he is going to be at. And there isn't a lot of people in the NWA that could do that. There's a lot of people in the NWA who just can't speak like that. Silas Mason can't. Silas Mason is a superstar. Many of the library, this is according to Poyo, and I've heard this as well. Poyo says many of these libraries, meaning the NWA libraries from the independent promotions and the territory system, they were filmed and sent on film to independent TV stations, which disposed of it after broadcast. Nobody thought to preserve weekly pro wrestling. And the big thing is, and as we're sitting here talking about it, 50 years ago, they didn't know that there'd be this thing called the internet that you could just click and watch wrestling from the 1920s. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't care. They didn't care about it because it wasn't a real thing to them. Even having, like, there's stories that, and I've heard this is true and not true, so we'll pretend it's unknown. But I've heard that the Hollywood library, they would take the tapes, and after they had aired those tapes, they would reuse the same tapes, just wipe them and reuse them. And if that's true, like, holy crap. But how would you know? You would have to be like some sort of fortune teller to know that those libraries would be worth something, because they didn't do reruns back then. Your commitment was to getting wrestling on Saturday morning so that you could get a draw for the house show that you're doing Saturday night. Poi also brings up, and even to store those videos, you would have had to have an entire room. There was no cloud. And these weren't like, little cassette tapes. These are big reel-to-reels. These were big stuff that required storage. Double D, shout out to Double D. He says, hey, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hype the show. Like, look, if you're watching this on TikTok, if you want to send a gift, that's great. You don't have to. If you just like this video, throw hearts up on there and follow the channel. That's all I could ever ask for anybody. If you're watching on Kick or YouTube or Twitch, just liking the live and maybe, sharing it on your social media platform, that'd be awesome. That's all I could ever ask. If you're on YouTube, hitting that subscribe button is super important. I love that. Damn, quick glance. I thought you were Kevin Owens. I get that a lot, Soulless Ginger. Sean, history god, in my Charlton Heston voice. Damn them to hell. Yeah, not a very good Charlton Heston voice for me. I try. I'm nothing if I'm not an entertainer. I'm not a good entertainer, mind you, but an entertainer nonetheless. Silas Mason just don't know how to work social media. Oh, you might be right. Who knows? Maybe some wonderfully talented person could be the person to help Silas Mason with his social media. Massive storage like the archives of the Wrestling Alliance, not that enormous. Well, no, but we're talking about Chris Shoemaker. We're talking about back in the day when, when Jim Crockett Promotions was putting those matches on TBS, when, Hollywood, NWA Hollywood was putting those matches on Fox 11 or wherever they were. Or actually, no, it was probably KTLA Channel 5. or like Don Owens putting that on the Portland station. Each territory was filming their own stuff. It was all independently owned, and like Poyo mentioned earlier, there was no cloud back then. You literally had to store these things, and again, storage costs were not free, and a lot of it was short-sighted too, because again, it wasn't like they were showing reruns. You had these matches, you had these events. They were filmed and produced to draw more people to the show on the Saturday night or the Tuesday night or whenever those live events were happening. And once those tapes were done, they just tossed them. Some of them reused them. A very select few, like what we have with the whole library from Jim Crockett Promotions, they kept that intact. But not even everything, just some of it. So Patrick Moore says, this is a great, oh, wow, that's a good comment. Is NWA being a passion project a good thing, or does it make Billy Corgan a money mark? It's a great question. I think money mark is a harsh term, because when you look at what Billy Corgan's done, like, yes, he is the money behind the NWA, but it's not like Billy Corgan found somebody with money and said, hey, invest in this, and I'm going to spend all your money. Billy Corgan took his product, his passion, and put it together to make to buy the NWA and to keep producing the NWA. So I don't feel like that is a money mark. A money mark would be like if someone said, hey, J-Cal, I'm doing a wrestling promotion in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and I want you to be my sponsor. And then if me, funding the wrestling promotion, then I would be the money mark, right? But Billy's literally running the whole thing. Billy's expensing the whole thing. And Billy is paying for it. The Lightning One is Billy Corgan and vice versa. So I don't feel like that's being a money mark. Does it mean that his decision-making isn't always the best? Look, it's his money to spend. So if he's having a good time producing the NWA, then that's all that really matters. It doesn't matter what you and I think. Remember, at the end of the day, Vince McMahon was the number one person, the number one audience member that mattered the most to the WWE. Tony Khan is the audience for TNA, and Billy Corgan is the audience for the NWA. That show happens the way Billy wants it to. Not what you like, not necessarily what I like. It's what he likes. It's his identity of pro wrestling. It's how he sees the world of pro wrestling. And for better or for worse, that's just what it is. If we like it, great. Billy loves that we like it. If you don't like it, oh well, Billy still loves what it is. And if he doesn't love it, he's the only person that can change it. And you'll see the NWA has evolved. If you watch the NWA today, it has evolved. When it first debuted back in 2019 on YouTube as part of the Georgia Public Access Public Studios, PBS Public Studios, there it is. It was a different product than what it is today. And that's okay. You're allowed to evolve. Exactly. And Sean Moye brings up a very interesting point that, look, if Billy is at least keeping it alive and it's grown. Look, there was a point in 2016 that I don't know that the NWA was going to be around much longer. There were rumors that the old owner of the NWA was looking to sell. He had offered it to New Japan. They declined. He offered it to the WWE. They declined. And there were a couple buyers who none of them were willing to put the kind of money that Billy Corgan has put into the NWA. Any of those promotions would have bought the NWA back then. There probably wouldn't be an NWA today. That's legit. For better or for worse, Billy Corgan's NWA is still here. People love the Georgia tapings. Sean Mega, you're 100% right. They did. But obviously, that's not the direction Billy wanted to be in. Do you agree with Triple H's explanation of booking? Hope y'all discuss it Thursday. Sean, I don't know what he said about that, so I will have to look that up, but we will probably talk about it on Thursday. We're going to talk about Power, but because there isn't another event till December, there's not a whole lot to get excited about. Of course, there are live events from the territories, and we'll probably, publicize those, but we're up to talk about everything. What's going on, Kevin? Hey, Benjamin, what's going on to you? Normally, I'd play Kevin Owens' music and say, I'm not Kevin Owens. My name's Jay Cal, and I'm from the Alliance Blog. And each and every Tuesday, I come to you right here on TikTok to talk about NWA or pro wrestling. Okay. Double D points out that Pollo and Silas used to be an item. They were a power couple. Let's be real. Don't forget to vote today. Absolutely. A vote like democracy counts on your vote, because it does. Patrick Moore says, there's hardly any of my matches available anywhere except for 2 I wrestled in the NWA until 2002. Where did you wrestle, Patrick? You might have told me this, but I think I forgot. Sorry, Ben. I'm sorry to hear about your dog passing away. That sucks. How come I can't find NWA footage from the late 90s and 2000s? So let's break it down like this, right? Because there was no thanks for the cake slices, Russell Rant. Appreciate you, sir. What NWA did you wrestle for? Which promotion? Because each NWA promotion, NWA TNA, that's a good one. Each NWA promotion is independently owned. So the footage from each NWA promotion is still owned by the NWA member of record. And so, like, there was an NWA Southwest from like late 99, early 2000, I think up until about 20. Oh, yeah. So NWA Southwest, Ken Taylor. The reason why it's probably not available is because I don't think Ken Taylor has an NWA, or I don't think he has a YouTube page. I don't think Ken Taylor has his content available on YouTube. It would be awesome if someone went out there and said, hey, Mr. Ken Taylor, I can help you set up a YouTube channel. You want to put this stuff out there? But it's all up to his discretion, and if he doesn't want to do it, you can't make him. That man, Batman, send me a message. I think we follow each other, I believe. So send me a message and I will look at that stuff. Cam, my neck is great because I am not Kevin Owens. My name is Jake out from the Alliance Blog. Did you know back in 2003, Vince McMahon postponed a post-show meeting so Gerald Briscoe, Michael Cole, Michael Hayes, and Brian Gerwitz could watch their alma mater Syracuse win the B-Ball championship? I did not know that. I didn't know Michael Hayes went to Syracuse. That I did not know. I thought Michael Hayes was a southern gentleman. A simple kind of life. Ken Taylor? I think you mean Ken Taylor, Patrick, and I don't know. I can find out for you. My good friend DKM is kind of connected to the Texas wrestling scene. I could check that out for you. You saw it on Facebook earlier today. Awesome. All right, so we're running out of time. That's my team, so I thought it was sick. That's cool. So we're running out of time, so I do want to real quick talk about this week's Power because of Ken. This is like a Title Tuesday. There's a good amount of championship matches on the NWA Power, which again is available on the Roku Sports. I don't know what the channel number is, but if you go to Roku via your phone or your TV or your computer desktop like I do, you can watch directly from the Roku app. And they have, you just type in NWA and you can find the stuff on demand, plus the new shows that are available again every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific, or the replay at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific. But this week on Power, we have 2 big championship matches. Tiffany Nieves, who is Tiffany Two Belts, holds the Women's Television Championship and the Women's Tag Team Championship, with Valentina Rossi as TVMA, defends her TV title against Sirena Veil. We haven't seen Sirena Veil a lot. She's had one prior appearance to this TV taping, and she's a hell of a talent out of, I think she works for Crossfire. She's somebody who I think the NWA sees something in, and I think she's great potential. Of course, Tiffany Nieves is top notch right now. Maybe one of the best talents in the NWA, not just women wrestlers, but the best overall talents. You can see Tiffany Nieves working for Reality Wrestling with Booker T. She's also used to be a part of the Ohio Valley. And for the last 2 years, been an integral part of the NWA women's division, and now is currently the TV champion and tag team champion. So she'll be defending her TV title this week on Power. as well as the match between Mims, Big Strong Mims. Big Strong Mims defends the NWA National Championship against Mike Mondo. I don't really know how this match came to fruition. The last time we saw Mondo, he was teaming with Slade before these the anniversary show tapings, and he gets a shot at Mims. I don't know how we got this shot, but Big Strong Mims has held the title for quite some time. He won the title last year at the anniversary show by defeating Carson Drake in the finals of a 4-way elimination match. Patrick Moore brings up the fact that he thought that Tiffany Nieves had 3 belts. She did lose the NWA Exodus Pro title to Marty Bell. Marty Bell is your NWA Exodus Pro Women's Champion. And the fight, I don't know if this is the main event. I don't know match listings, but we know that the third match for tonight's card is the Austin Idol Heartthrob Invitational. They're crowning a new #1 contenders for the NWA National Championship. I think it's through a battle royal. We'll have to wait and see. Again, I don't have a lot of information on that. The only confirmed participant that we know will be in that matchup is Carson Drake's cousin, LJ. And we don't even know who LJ is. So all of that's coming to you tonight on POWERRR. Make sure you tune in again on the Roku app. It's going to be available 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific. Also, it's always available on demand on Tuesdays. You don't have to wait to watch it live. You can watch the in-demand episodes that those pop up early Tuesday morning on the Roku app, so you can check it out that way. Whew. I've been talking for about 2 hours straight now, and I'm getting kind of tired. So I think that's going to end it for us, guys. LeBron James. Patrick Moore, what do you mean I do? Tell me what you mean by that. Oh, WWE Edit SVN says, bro, you look like Kevin Owned. Does anyone tell you that? Bro, everybody calls me Kevin Owens. Wow, it's hitting the screen. Making my camera dance. Oh, now the TV turned off. I get that quite a bit. It's all good. It's all good. Lockjaw Drake. LeBron James. Willie, I thought you were a Lakers fan. What's going on? All right, guys. I do want to say that for, at least 46 weeks, 47 weeks, we've been talking NWA every Tuesday right here on YouTube, Kick, Twitch. And that's, 47 weeks this year. Is that right? No, I don't know the number, but we've done a lot of NWA talk. And the plan is we're going to continue to ride this pony in 2026. I do appreciate you guys hanging out with me to talk NWA here on all these platforms that we're on, especially TikTok. And I do appreciate you guys making this little live stream a part of your daily viewing habits, your weekly viewing habits. So I do appreciate you guys hanging out with us. I do want to remind you guys, we have another live stream on Thursdays, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific, right here on YouTube and TikTok. You can watch us live as we recount. We talk about the NWA. We review the NWA from this week's Power episode. So if you're excited about what it is, we'll be talking about it later this evening. Oh, Patrick Moore says he knows who LJ is. Okay. All right. Let's go. Yeah, no, Chris Shoemaker, that's not a joke either, man. We've been doing the pre-party since like the 3rd episode of Power that aired. I've been doing this since 2015. Even when there was no NWA to watch, I was talking about the NWA. So, yeah. All right, I need to go now. I'm starting to get delirious. I do thank you guys for hanging out with us. It's always a pleasure. But until next time, we'll see you at the matches.
Thanks for joining the stream. This has been a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com. We genuinely appreciate your support. Would you consider subscribing so you'll never miss a future episode? I'd also like to remind you we do a live stream every Tuesday at 5 p.m. before NWA Power. You can find us on social media at The Alliance Blog. And until next time, we are The Alliance.